Hi, in this video I'm going to show you how to achieve some really exciting results using Collagraph and Monoprint and different objects on your plate. Hope you enjoy the video. So, as well as printmaking, I do a lot of painting. I love abstract art, and this is one of my paintings I did a while ago. And what I wondered is how I could achieve this look using print, and what techniques I could apply to sort of get this effect, and let's say trying to copy almost this painting but in a print format. And what I have achieved is this, and I was really pleased with the result. And it took some thought on how I was going to do it, and I came up with a combination of Monoprint and a bit of Collagraph. It was really fun to do, so I videoed it and I wanted to show it to you because it really explores just what possibilities there are with printmaking and how much fun you can have with it. I hope you enjoy it, and if you have any questions, please let me know on YouTube and I will answer any of your queries as well. Okay, so first of all, I'm here sort of laying out all the shapes with a permanent marker on a transparent sheet, ready for them to be cut out and then inked up. So all I'm doing is just following the general design from my painting. It doesn't have to be completely accurate, but sort of just general idea of where every shape is. Okay, so I'm just securing the transparency with a tape and cutting it out using a mixture of scalpel and scissors, whatever's easier. Metal ruler works the best here, obviously, so you don't end up damaging it. And here you can see most shapes are cut out now, just doing a bit of detail. And it's important, it's easy to forget where each shape is because it's an abstract design, so I'm sort of trying to keep them all together on the plate. I'm going to here use matte acrylic medium and I'm applying it with a paintbrush to the transparency, to the acrylic, to the plastic sheet, and it's basically just to give it a bit of texture. Here I'm giving more texture using a masking tape, because I want to have some stripes, and I'm sealing it with a matte acrylic medium. And here I've got a bit of lace, a bit of lovely lace I got online, and I'm going to use it just to give some interesting textures, and gluing it with a bit of acrylic medium. And I'm using matte acrylic medium because that's going to trap more ink. So that's the idea. I don't want the ink to wipe off. So I'm just going to seal it with wood glue. And the reason why I'm doing that is because wood glue is very hardy and it won't damage. I'm hoping this will keep the lace secure on the shape. And here I've got some sticky patterned tape, and that's just another bit of texture. And here I'm just adding some old wallpaper. I've got bits of old wallpaper cut-offs that I got from a DIY shop. And here again I'm just adding a bit of acrylic matte medium to seal it. I've got some other interesting patterned wallpaper. As you can see, it's got two different patterns on it, which is quite nice. If you can get wallpaper like that, that's quite good idea, so you can just get a bit of variety of textures.
And again here I'm going to start inking up. So all my shapes are ready, and I'm just using sort of mixture of different paints, and the reason why I'm doing that is so I can get some really nice balanced tones rather than just straight from the tube colours. And it's nice to mix all the colours that you're using together just to give it the sort of nice harmony between different tones and shades of similar colour. So my background, I'm aiming for it to be similar to my painting, which is kind of sort of mixture of turquoise with green, and I'm just rolling it onto the plastic sheet, ready to put on a press, as I'm going to add my inked up shapes to it later on. So as you can see, it's a bit of a fiddly process. I'm trying to sort of give some textures here with a pencil as well, and different tones. So here it is, it goes on a press, and now I'm applying ink, Intaglio ink, onto my shape. So I'm just applying it with paintbrush and wiping it off, and as you can see, it's staying on the plastic sheet quite nicely, and the reason why is because I've got matte acrylic medium on top of it, so it traps ink. I'm applying the ink with paintbrush rather than the roller, because roller would probably stick, because the shape is so small, shape is likely to stick to the roller. So again, I'm kind of following loosely what my painting was like, using similar colours. It's not a complete representation of the painting, but it's just got elements of it which I like, and I'm trying to mix colours to follow it. So sort of using blues and greens, and then contrasting it with later on with some really warm bright colours to lift them out. And as you can see here, I'm using two different colours on one shape as well, which is working quite nicely, and I'm hoping that sticky tape will come out, the pattern will come out when I print it. Yeah, so here I was using a comb to give an interesting texture. You can use anything really, comb, a scraper, and here I'm just adding some nice warm rich colours to contrast with these sort of cooler blues and greens. I'm trying to keep my shapes in place on the plate. So I've got this sort of white cardboard plate, which is not part of the printout, but it's like a placeholder for all of my shapes, so I don't get lost in where everything is, and I can just lift it up and transfer it to the bed, to the press bed, and use it as a kind of placeholder when I transfer my design to the press. So here as you can see, I'm using a roller, and to stop it from sticking, I'm kind of pressing down with some tweezers. Yeah, this shape is a little bit more tricky because it's got this very heavy pattern, so I'm sort of painting the ink in, and I'm just going to kind of wipe it off with a scrim to get excess ink off, otherwise it will just sort of splodge when I run it through the press. And the reason why I'm adding sort of red overlay is just to give it two different shades. This thin roller is quite useful for doing detailed work like this. I would really recommend getting a thin roller. It's quite a good investment. So now that all my shapes are inked up, using my placeholder of all the shapes as a guide to where everything should be going. This is quite a fiddly process because if you stick your shape in the wrong place, it's quite difficult to peel it off. And obviously if you do peel it off, you peel off a layer of inked up paint, ink underneath. So it's important to get it right first time, which you don't always, so it can go a bit wrong. But even if it does, and if you have to peel it off, it doesn't really matter because you can have an interesting effect, I guess. So don't worry too much about that. So there we go. I'm just cleaning off bits of ink that I might have put on there. So I'm putting my wetted paper on top with a bit of newsprint and some cardboard and running it through the press. And this is obviously the most exciting part. So this is stage 1 of making this print, or hybrid print. This is the monoprint part. So I'm just here revealing. It's got a little bit stuck. It looks brilliant. I think it looks gorgeous. I really, really like the colours and the vibrancy and what's going on there. Some really interesting shapes. And the lace has come through quite nicely as well. Really pleased with it. So this is the second stage of the hybrid print. This is the Collagraph stage. So I've just got some shapes that I'm placing face down on my print, which is lying face up on the press bed. And I'm just placing these inked up Collagraph shapes on top, so they will print directly onto my print. This is a really good way of adding interesting parts to your print. You don't need a reference guide or anything because you're placing the shapes directly on your print. You know exactly where they should be going. And it's a really nice finishing touch because these Collagraph shapes will be printed in a almost black, sort of dark blue colour. So it will give a bit of contrast to a very brightly coloured design. So I'm just running it through the press, and I have to take all the shapes off with tweezers here. And this is the final design. So as you can see, this sort of Collagraph shape's a little bit see-through, which I love that. I think it looks fantastic. So I'm really, really pleased with this technique. So here is a second print. It's a little bit different. The colours are similar, but sort of I rearranged them differently, and I guess I inked up and wiped off in a different way, learning from the first print. But what I'm going to do here on top of my Collagraph shapes, I'm adding a piece of string which has been inked up. So I've just basically rolled the string in some black ink, and I'm adding, I guess, sort of a bit more unexpected sort of shape, or a bit more thin and not so worked out element to the design, so it contrasts well with what's going on there already. So all I'm going to do is just press down, and hopefully that string will print. So as you can see, that string looks really cool. I love it. I'm going to do that again. And the Collagraph shapes look brilliant too. Hope you enjoyed the video. Thank you.